We're here in Northumberland County, Rush Township, in the heart of the 108th District on Kiwi Korner's farm. Kiwi Korner's is a very unique farm. They grow the kiwi berry, and Kiwi Berry Organics Company works off this farm, and it is the world's only certified organic breeder, grower, packer, and marketer of fresh kiwi berries. And with me today, I have David Jackson and Holly Laubach, co-owners of this farm. Can you tell our viewers today what is a kiwi berry?
Miniature, smooth skin, edible skin, kiwi that's much sweeter than the store-bought fuzzy varieties.
And about how large is a kiwi berry?
About the size of a large grape. It depends on the variety.
And the skin on the kiwi berry, is it similar to the kiwis we find in the grocery store?
No, that's a fuzzy. It's called a delicioso. What we grow here is one of the 70 different species of the term actinidia, which encompasses all kiwi. These are arguta, actinidia arguta. There's probably, I would say, at least 100 different varieties that we've worked with here at the farm. And over the years, we've condensed that down to about 2 varieties, which we have found to be commercially viable.
And for people who've never seen a kiwi berry, you know, how do you eat it? What do you use it for? You know, if you saw it in the grocery store, what would you do with it?
Well, you can pop it in your mouth. It's delicious like that. Some people bite the end off and suck out the inner beauty. But if you're eating the skin and all, it's basically like a vitamin pill in a skin.
So what vitamins would we be getting if we ate one of these kiwi berries?
Exceptional quantities of vitamin C, about 5 times that of an orange. Also omega-3, the vitamin E, and you have a lot of different trace in there.
So it'd be like eating your vitamins as opposed to just taking the regular pill.
But a very sweet vitamin that it's very tasty. Great.
So the farm, what made you decide to start this business? When did you locate here, and how long ago?
We've been playing around with hardy kiwi for about 30 years now. The farm right now is 27 years into its making. We probably only have maybe 5 or 6 of the different cultivars that we've had throughout the years to keep on testing for new varieties and such. Holly, you want to jump in on this for how long? And you're the stats lady.
We've been here actually for, as Dave said, nearly 30 years. This is actually our 27th season in production, and we have been actually marketing fruit since 1998. And slowly we have worked with the different varieties. At one point we had 4 varieties on the market. We decided that we would downgrade that, and we are now handling the 2 varieties, which are our Passion Poppers and our Aloha Annas. They're 2 distinctly different fruits with distinctly different tastes and flavors.
So now when you 2 got together and decided you wanted to start a business, why a farming business? And most people would not come up with the kiwi berry as their first thing that they wanted to grow. What made you make that decision?
That was Dave's decision. He's the one who chose kiwi.
After the music scene, I asked the good Lord for something new, different, and original that I may be able to succeed in and have a bit of a legacy on that. And I found myself the following week going to the grocery store, acquiring the big fuzzy kiwis like everybody gets, and trying to grow out the seeds. A little bit more reading later, I found out that couldn't be done in the state of Pennsylvania unless we were doing them under glass or under polyculture. And within a matter of a month or 2 from that realization, somebody came and said, Dave, do you know that you can grow a hardy kiwi in this state? And it kind of progressed from there. We went down, met the gentleman in Virginia from Edible Landscaping, and we started to trial test every variety that he had, that the USDA had, that we could find here in the States, the European varieties, New Zealand. We kind of tried to test trial everything that we could to find new and different things that we could offer the state.
And what are the uses of the kiwi berry? What can people use them for?
Well, they come in a 6-ounce clamshell, and outside of eating them out of hand, we do send a lot for wine. Also, there's a nutraceutical field that could be very much explored with this. But being the size we are of only 20 acres, most nutraceutical companies are looking for something that has over 1 million pounds annually. And this being such a labor-intensive crop, I don't think it's going to expand that fast. Outside of nutraceuticals, where would you like to go on that one, Holly?
We've used it in the culinary field for all sorts of different things. Salad dressings, marinades. Actually, kiwi has a very active enzyme in it called actinidin. And we have experimented with it on just a cut of steak and also chicken. And we found that the steak was totally broken down the following morning. And it was like baby food. So it's really active. Yeah, it's a very active enzyme. We also have done drinks with it. We've mixed it with peppers. It's great for dip sauce at a pig roast because it kind of cuts the grease. There are all sorts of things. Actually, your imagination is the end of the line. It pairs well with honey. It pairs well with orange and also chocolate. And we've actually dipped it in chocolate as well. Of course, you have to consume this on a very short-term basis. Right. Unfortunately, we don't have any preservatives, but it's a fun thing to do.
And this is an organic farm.
This is an organic farm.
So when people are eating the fruit, they are eating wholesome and hearty and something packed with vitamins.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's wonderful. I love the story. I thank you for sharing. And how about we take a look out into the fields and see what you're actually growing?
Surely.
All right.
We are here in the middle of the kiwi farm with David and Holly, and we're standing between two vines. And can you tell me how many farms are there like this in the United States?
As far as commercial production, there's only 3 of us. You have 2 out in middle of the Oregon area, and you have this one in Pennsylvania.
So how lucky are we to have you here in the heart of my district? I find that amazing. So what are we standing in between, the vines, and how are we growing these? Because this looks very much different than my own garden or any other farm I've ever been on.
The entire thing is based around variety and management. And as you can see, these things are only up to your shoulders right here. These are Annonasia. This is what has been currently been grown in America for the last 30 years. And about 15 years ago, we came out with another variety, our own. And that's over here. And this one has almost twice the Brix or the sweetness level. And with Brix, you get taste and nutrition. And it's taste that sells. This grown in Pennsylvania, this is now our main crop. Always looking for better stuff and more better ways to do this. But for right now, this is where the farm's basically at about 15 acres of the passion poppers compared to about 20% of the Anna. Anna is now more of a background crop. It comes in after the passion popper comes in, and it supplies us with a little bit more time to put out another product.
So this is your own?
This is our own creation, yes ma'am.
So music to my ears was, the sweeter it is, the better it is for me nutritionally?
Yes, basically on Brix, but also with sweetness, you must have the acid to go along, to balance out the whole thing, to give you your shelf life, to give you a more sophisticated taste. And that's basically why we chose this different variety. The block we're standing in now had over 60 different varieties in it at one time. It now has 2.
So can you explain to me, like I said, this doesn't look like your typical farm. Why are they so high? You know, why is the mounds underneath them in these rows? Why that kind of growing?
Because we found during trial and error, different management systems did different things. And if you're going to create a sweet berry or a sweet grape, you must let the sun in. You can't grow a good wine grape in the shade. So what we did is we took a regular T-bar trellising, and we've elongated the T-bars on top. Most trellising on the T-bar systems are between 4 and 6 feet. And then they do a full curtain down to the bottom of the ground. This does not let the sun in. We decided to bring them up at shoulder level. Shoulder fruit, it is exposed to the most sun, all right? And it also helps to correct the deer problem that Pennsylvania has here. So we are right above the browse line.
So show it, the browse line would be where for the deer?
Right where we're standing.
And he
here.
won't reach any higher to
He
reach
doesn't
the
go
bear.
any higher. I've seen them in apple trees go higher, but I haven't seen them yet for kiwi leaves.
That's great. And the bottom, where the soil's all mound up, the beds.
These are renewable raised beds, we call them. We come in here once or twice a year to weed, but there's also a lot of organic products, as you can see, that's been incorporated in, such as the grass trimmings, the trimmings off the vine, weeds get turned back in. We feed our weeds, let them grow about 4 to 6 inches, and then we re-enter them with the earth. And that brings up the carbon level, which helps with the moisture, so you don't have to water as much, and it frees up a lot of the beneficial fungi that the roots live on.
And as with any farmer, I know the growing season is really dependent upon Mother Nature and what she brings us for the beginning of the growing season. What is an ideal season for you for growing the fruit?
First of all, frost can be the main downfall here. Mother Nature seems to be putting off the frost in the fall and bringing it harder in on the spring. If we venture down below 22 degrees, we usually get pretty much hurt on frost. Outside of frost, you'd be looking at risk minimization, you'd be looking at hail, which is can be sometimes over the spring, summer time, and the introduction of new bugs that come into the state on almost an annual basis.
So do you prefer a wetter spring, a drier spring? What helps your growing season?
I would say a wetter spring. Right now, these berries were just pollinated last week, and they've probably gone 3 times their size.
Okay.
So they're growing strong, healthy, and fast.
And we've talked about sort of the lack of our honeybees right now, how they're so beneficial to your crop.
Honeybees, we introduced them years ago and have seen a decline, especially within the last decade on these. So we researched out the different males, found out which males actively gave off pollen in the wind, and we have arranged them throughout the arbor and especially in trees of various heights and such. And that helps do the wind pollination. We also bring in pollen at times commercially from California, and we have a machine that we apply the pollen with, providing it's not raining too much like this last spring here.
And you would do this early in the growing season?
Yes, the pollination, we usually do that about 4 times, run up and down the aisles. Hopefully we have enough males going in the trees and such. We don't have to use that much.
Okay, great. So Holly, can you talk to us a little bit about, marketing this fruit and maybe what's next?
We initially had to create a market for this fruit. There was not one when we started, so it was an educational process. We did actually get a grant from the University of Maryland to create a brochure that we could actually send out with our flats of fruit. And after that, it was word of mouth. We did a lot of attending conferences and speaking about it. We've worked with land-grant universities. We've tried to get the word out the best that we possibly can. And again, by someone tasting it, the news spreads like wildfire in that manner. And I've gotten lots of comments back from our website. And there's actually a comment page there. So we've gotten all sorts of great response.
So I know one of the things you said when you first started producing the fruit, almost all of it when you were packaging it was leaving the state.
That's true.
Can you tell me what the good news is?
Well, actually, we're selling to a lot of organic co-ops in the state of Pennsylvania at this point in time. We've got Lancaster Farm Fresh Co-op, a gentleman there by the name of Casey Spock, who's wonderful to work with. We also have Tuscarora Organic Growers Association, And what was the third?
Four Seasons.
And Four Seasons
Who's-
Produce.
Who's been with us for a long time.
So how much of the fruit would you say stays in the Commonwealth now?
Actually,
About half our fruit.
So half of our fruit staying in
And
Pennsylvania.
the other half distributed throughout the Mid-Atlantic, we usually sell out. And it seems this year we'll be selling out of, broken out the fruit a month before it is picked. So that's ought to have a good thing. We also do a thing called Kiwi Berry Direct. Holly, would you like to put on this one?
we did start. We had inquiries. We'd received inquiries from all across the country, and in 2008, we started a shipping business so that we actually will deliver kiwi berries to your doorstep.
Wonderful.
And that's available online. It's an online purchase, and I do post a site in the beginning of August if anyone's interested.
That's 48 states.
So anybody locally, if we placed an order, can we come pick it up?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We do make arrangements for folks who are local to save on the
Great.
shipping expenses, and you can come and pick up by appointment.
Holly and Dave, this has been such an educational experience for us. I know most people watching this have never heard of the kiwi berry, let alone seen the farm. So we're really excited to come back this fall when the kiwi berry are on the vines, watch them being picked, and watch them getting ready to be packaged and shipped off to wherever that you're sending them. And I want to thank you for your time today, and we look forward to being with you again this fall.
Thank you, Lynda.
Thank you. It's a beautiful day in September, and we're back here on Kiwi Korner's farm for the harvesting of these unique kiwi berries. I'm here with David Jackson. He is a partner with Holly Laubach. Holly is up above on the processing line, which we'll be going to. So David and I are here, we're harvesting, and we're going to talk about the harvesting process and how the summer went for his growing season.
To start out, we had a little bit way too much rain. The strawberry crop suffered about the same time, but we have a little different problem where we have males and females involved. And if the males can't get the pollen to the females, you don't get such nice fruit. In this particular block, we have more males, bigger males, and better males. And as you can see, some of the fruit sizes are very, very nice. What we're doing now is we're waiting to the last possible day to pick these things. It brings out the bricks, which brings out the taste, which helps to market the fruit.
I mean, I've done a little reading on your website, and your website is fantastic. And then
Thank
Holly
you.
tells
Thank
me
you, Lynda.
she designed it, but it has so much information on it. And some of the things, when you talk about the bricks, and I know we talked about it in the earlier segment, it produces the sweetest fruit packed with the most nutrient-dense thing you can get. Is that correct?
Correct. The higher the bricks, the more flavor you have. And if you balance that off with acids, you get a really good full flavor. The sweet is one thing, but you want to balance that back to broaden out the taste of the whole thing. The only way we've been able to accomplish this is with the trellis you see in back of you. And as far as I know, we are the only people that are doing it like this, letting both indirect from the bottom up and direct coming down. In back of me here, we've probably pruned this out about 5 times this year. Very labor intensive, but if it brings a better berry, that's the way we found to market the whole thing.
So anybody from Pennsylvania watching this knows we probably didn't have the most ideal growing conditions. As you said earlier, we had a cold, dry spring, and then it turned into a very wet situation. And I think to fertilize, you need a drier weather, not a wetter weather. So when you can't get your males to fertilize the females on the farm, do you have to bring something in to do that?
We bring in pollen and apply it by a battery-powered machine, and just hope for the best. Sometimes it's in between the raindrops. We're just waiting for a few hours of dry to get the pollen out there and have it activate the females.
And I think I also read you're working on maybe having your fruit self-fertilize it.
That is something that we're working on, yes. If we can find some mutations that are actually self-fertile, that should change around the process of the application and having more males out here. Males take up maybe, I would say, a fifth to a sixth of the whole operation. And if you didn't have to manage them, fertilize them and such, that would be a great help. Plus you'd have that open space then to put more females in.
More fruit.
More fruit. Nobody's really accomplished it yet to come out with a self-fertile that is actually commercially viable, but we're heading in that direction now.
So how do you know when to pick the kiwi berry?
We usually do a refractometer testing on them. Once they hit about a 7 to 8, we know we should be coming in to pick. Also, when it starts to give a little bit. As you see, these things are a little bit harder, which is great to pick, but the bricks is really high in these things. That makes the optimum thing to put in the carton for marketing then.
Okay. And so I'm assuming there's not a whole lot of kiwi berry farms, as we've talked about earlier. How do you get a crew in to pick them? Do you have to be a specially trained crew? How do you do that?
We found it best to bring in pickers after they've gone through the New Jersey blueberry picking and packing affair. They're more well suited to know what to look for and to also be out here in the sun and such and pick for the entire day.
So we have specialty blueberry pickers picking our
Specialty
kiwi
blueberry
berries.
pickers. Some flew in from Florida, some just drove in from Florida. Yes.
And the picking season lasts how long?
About 3 weeks.
Okay. All right. Now that we've talked about how you pick them, let's go up and see how you process
How we
them.
pack them out.
Yep.
Okay.
We're here in the processing plant of Kiwi Korner's farm, and I'm here with Holly Laubach. Holly is co-owner with David Jackson, and we're sitting here sifting through the fruit, and I'm going to let Holly explain what happens once the fruit gets up here after being harvested. Holly?
Hi. The fruit comes into the barn in the black lugs that you saw the pickers dropping the fruit into in the fields. And at this point, we lay it out on the inspection belt, and we want to remove all of the soft fruit. We want to remove the fruit that has a larger scarring on it than we prefer to allow to go and be packed in the clamshells. The scarring is actually not anything that hurts the fruit, but it's something our consumers unfortunately buy with their eyes, and so we allow just a certain percentage of scarring. So those, and if there are any soft fruit, they're also removed so that we don't have a problem with the whole palate ripening before it's time.
So the scarring does not make the fruit taste any different? It's just a visual?
No, it's just a visual. It does not make it taste any different. And actually the berries that we're taking off here will actually go to an organic co-op. For folks who don't mind seeing a few scars, it's just fine. There's nothing wrong with the fruit.
So now I've heard that this goes to some grocery stores, some Whole Foods stores. Can you tell us from this point on, where does this fruit go?
Well, actually, we work with different buyers each year. We have brokers. We work with organic co-ops. Lancaster Farm Fresh is one of our largest. And we also work with Tuscarora Organic Farmers. That's a co-op. We also work with Four Seasons. And let's see, who else? I think I've covered most of them. They're generally Pennsylvania oriented. Some of these actually, primarily the fruit ends up in the Northeast Mid-Atlantic area. And you'll find it anywhere from New York down to Washington, D.C.
Now, David told me we now have it in 17 schools for lunches.
We do. This is a new venture this year. It's a group called Smart Partners. They're out of the Lancaster area, and this is a chef and his wife who have actually been able to work with the school districts to provide them with good produce from local farmers. And they did try some kiwi berries last year that they obtained from one of our incubator farms, and they were thrilled with them. So they came yesterday and picked up a whole pallet of passion poppers for the kids. So we're thrilled to have that happen.
So now, just from being on the farm, I mean, there's an education in how you eat these, how you recognize when they're ripe. So I'm in the grocery store or a Whole Foods store, and I see a package of these, or a clamshell, as you refer to it. How do I buy it, and then how do I eat it?
Well, actually, we picked these early. They're still a tensile strength, but the starches have turned to sugars before we harvest them. And when you find them in the grocery store, actually what you'll do is you'll purchase them and take them home. We have on our labels, it says eat when soft and wrinkled, and it gives to gentle pressure. Everybody's got their own preference as to how ripe they like them. We like to wait until they actually aspirate the moisture in the berry and the fruits actually wrinkle and they get ugly, that's when you're going to get the best flavor from them, most concentrated flavor. So everybody's got their own preference, so you kind of have to test them as you go. You leave them on the kitchen counter to ripen. You want to hold them, you can put them in the coldest spot in your fridge, and they'll hold for up to 2 weeks.
Great. So can we walk down and we'll talk to David and see what's going on down there? Okay, David, now we need you to explain what's going on down at this end.
This is called calling fruit. All right, we're picking out the bug bites, some callousing, wind rub, such. This is something like apple scab, all right, from a very wet spring. Over here, we're also picking out softies because you don't really want a soft fruit and a hard fruit in the same package that we're trying to bring back at the same time. So a lot of this is touching with the fingertips and also looking for bird pecks, insect bites, whatever, something foreign, all right, but it keeps the clamshells as clean as we can and as tasty as we can.
Now, I want to talk about how nutrient dense these are. When you compare this fruit to an orange, it's supposed to have 5 times more vitamin C than an orange. What would a serving size be of this fruit?
It goes ounce per ounce when you're doing the variable on that. The vitamin C is mostly located in the skin. The vitamin E is in the seeds, but it's an omega-3. I think that's the way you say
okay.
it. Vitamin E, which is very good for you. If you look inside, if I would cut one of these open, it's exactly like a kiwi inside, exactly like. But the taste is phenomenally different. This isn't the old baby kiwi as they brought out years and years ago. This is a kiwi berry. We named these things, we developed these things, and we made a marker for them. And as you can see, they're coming in the door at a pretty good pace.
Now, I can tell anybody listening or watching that I have actually tasted them myself. And I don't find them to taste anything like a kiwi. They're much sweeter. I find the texture a little bit different, a little smoother. And of course, there's no fuzz or hair on the outside of it that you can just clearly eat the outside of it.
It's definitely a no peel, all right. Sometimes I like to take the end off. A berry that's wrinkled up, ready to eat, and I bite the end off and I'll suck the jam out. All right, this is truly jam in a skin. This berry would probably have another 2 to 3 days to sit on a countertop, much like an avocado to ripen up at about room temp. And the skin a bit leathery. It's definitely edible, but the true inner beauty of the fruit is in the jam on the inside.
David and Holly, I know this has been a very hectic day for the two of you while you're processing, but we thought it was important for people to see. What you always say is the most important thing about the kiwi berry is what? Can you tell people? You're always going for the what for the taste?
A big, broad taste.
Big, broad taste.
A big, broad taste that will bring out the wow factor rather than people that say that's good. Fine, but the wow factor, when somebody picks one up, puts it in their mouth, and goes, oh, what is this thing? And they go, wow.
When they're done.
That's what we're looking for.
Can you guys quickly, you have a phenomenal website. It's a great education tool for people. Can you tell us what the website is before we close up here today?
Yes, I certainly can. We are located at www.kiwiberry.com.
Great. Thank you guys for opening up the farm for us. I just want to say at the end, the bad news is you can go out to the website, but you can't order any kiwi berries because they've been completely sold out. You may be able to find some of their product at some of the local wineries who make the kiwi berry iced wine, which we'll feature in a future segment. Thank you for watching, and this has been Legislative Report with Representative Lynda Schlegel Culver.